We were talking about Jakob Ellemann, the Danish defense minister who has become sick with stress. And Jakob actually has been in the Danish military for years, I think, many years. So he is into things with war. So maybe that's one of the reasons he became defense minister. But then I want to talk about another politician from the Danish government. She is named Mai Villadsen, a woman. And I heard this podcast with her. I cannot play anything from it because when I try to make screenshot from this Danmarks Radio, there do not come any sound on it. It's a little shame because when we had the election half a year ago, so I could see a lot of signs. I could see a lot of coding in it. I was recording, and suddenly I figured out there do not come any sound on it. So since the sound is half of the picture, I couldn't really use those things for anything. But there were a lot about this Mai Villadsen also. As far as I have understood, she do not have children yet. She's a young woman. But in this podcast, they were talking about war, and she mentioned something about in some situation maybe it could be necessarily to take lives. If a conflict maybe cost 800 lives, she felt it was okay to offer those 800 lives. And I must admit, this party she is coming from is called Enhedslisten, and they have the letters E-L, just like L. Elohim, electricity. Mai is the 5th month. 5 rings, money. Well, but this Mai, and we have Jakob, and we have all the Danish government who has decided it's okay to go into war and send other people out in war to risk their life to death and to maybe take life from others. They decide it's okay for some of our Danish citizens to go out and kill people in another country. So there will be families who will lose loved ones. And we know in this kind of war they have had fantasy to fight until now. There are often a lot of innocent people who have not agreed to go into war, who are actually killed and hurt. And many soldiers are forced to go out and kill. But I think about these people who sit in the Danish government and decide to go out and let others kill. I don't think many of them could do it themselves. But they are also the rulers who make laws in child cases, where they decide it's okay to kill relationship between children and parents. And I say kill because they at least they did in my situation, they felt it was okay to keep me and my son away from each other for a long time, years, actually the rest of the child's childhood. And I have said it before, I will say it again. I think it's even worse to live your life when there a loved one you have lost who is still alive than if there's a loved one you have lost to natural death or death at all. Because the person you have lost, whom you are missing so deeply, is actually still alive, and you know you could have each other. But the thing that has forced you from each other has destroyed everything good between you. So it almost seems impossible because of brainwash to get this relationship back to what it was, or at least back to something good that it could be. And now I also think about the attack, how they tried to lay me mentally down, and how it as a period in the process ended up with that I was hit with this electric attack. I'm pretty sure they could have killed me with that kind of attack. And maybe they actually also did, but something else helped me so they didn't succeed. I cannot say, because I do not know what it is that is going on in our world right now. I just know I have been a victim in different ways for the gambling with our lives. But I'm thinking about, here we have politicians who think it's okay to destroy some of the citizens' family lives, some of the citizens' childhood, some of the citizens' parenthood. They also feel in between it's okay to send citizens out to kill other citizens. And we know many of these politicians. Now I want to show you a picture of my Villadsen. Many of those politicians actually do have children, or they have had children who has grown up. They have had family lives. And we often see that these children end up to be politicians themselves, or at least very high in the society. They often end on leadership jobs. But I'm thinking about these people. Are they actually worthy as parents? Is it okay these people have the authority over children? I was a parent who my country and the system in my country decided wasn't worth anything for my son. And I knew I was up against a very, very bad father. And I knew how hard it has been until the day where I ended up to lose the custody, the shared custody. Actually, I had all the custody over my son, because at that time you could not share it. And if it came in the court, they had to give the whole custody to one of the parents. And it ended up with that father got over the son and I got over our daughter. But I knew at that time I will never get peace in this. Me and my children will never get rest in our life to live peaceful together as far as this father is alive. I knew there were only one way we could get peace: when the system supported that man in the way he behaved at that time, and it was to kill him. I felt I simply had to kill him, or we will have problems rest of our life. But there are rules in Denmark about that in a family war, in a family fight, it's a little war. We have politicians who makes big wars, but inside a country there are small wars. And I was fighting one of those wars towards a person who was against me and wanted me dead, actually. He wanted me totally away. So I had to defend. I felt I should defend myself, but I was only allowed to do it with words. So that's the only weapon I have tried to use ever since, because I was not allowed to go out and kill him. That's illegal. But literally, it's okay for the system to kill people. And for real, it's okay for politicians to send others out to kill for real. So if I have been an enemy of the Danish state, that electric attack and all the resistance I felt as a human being in Denmark, and as a mom, it could very well have been a military attack decided by the Danish government, because I turned my war against the father, or defense against the father's war towards me. The system has messed up with it. They take the father's party, and then of course my war also is going toward the system. And it says in the Danish Grundlaw that citizens must reject if something is going on that is not human okay in the country. And that's what I have done. We take a number 4.